Welcome to Screw the Commute, the entrepreneurial podcast dedicated to getting you out of the car and into the money. With your host, lifelong entrepreneur and multimillionaire, Tom Antion.
Hey everybody, it's Tom here with episode 143 of Screw the Commute podcast. We have a special guest today and the first ever guest from Slovenia. His name is Tomaz Mencinger, and I met him through tennis, no less. And he's made a full-time living doing the things he loves, so I can't wait to introduce him to you. Now, episode 142 was the podcasting front end. This was a companion to the Monday before last episode, 139, where my right-hand guy, Larry, told you all the stuff we do behind the scenes after the recording is done and edited. So make sure you listen to both of them if you want to do podcasting. Now, I've got a freebie to thank you for listening to this podcast. It's my $27 ebook, How to Automate Your Business. And just one of the tips in this ebook has saved me over 7 million keystrokes. Now, we also have another surprise gift over there for you too. So check that out at screwthecommute.com/automate free. Screwthecommute.com/automate free. And of course, everything we talk about and links and so forth will be in the show notes for episode 143. All right, now our podcast app is in the iTunes store, and you can also go to screwthecommute.com/app, APP, where we have complete instructions on how to use all the fancy features so you can take us with you on the road on your cell phone and tablet. All right, our sponsor is me again. It's a great internet marketing retreat and joint venture program where myself and my staff work with you for a year to either get you started in an internet business or to use the internet to take your existing business to the next level. And I'll tell you more about that later, but you can check out greatinternetmarketingtraining.com. Greatinternetmarketingtraining.com. All right, let's bring on the main event, Tomaz Mencinger. I'll tell you what, he's one of the good guys at tennis. I have to tell you because I don't think he knows this, but I came out with that crazy Fatso tennis product. And in the U.S., there's a lot of what we call tennis snobs. They're really, they're too good for everything. And they pretty much looked up their nose at me and had wanted nothing to do. They wouldn't distribute the video, and it was a great video. But Tomaz is a good guy, down to earth, like a lot of people in Slovenia, and he was kind enough to help me out with that. And I don't even remember how I met him, but he's been living the dream, doing stuff with volleyball as a professional, a virtually professional volleyball coach. And then he just loves everything since a kid with that had to do with sports and balls. And he took up tennis part-time and then just fell in love with it. And for 25 years, he's been making his full-time living for him and his lovely wife with tennis. And it's called fieldtennis.net. So, Tomaz, are you ready to screw the commute?
Ready. Thank you for having me. Looking forward to this adventure.
Oh, boy, I'm so thrilled to get to talk to you. And you are our first ever, I don't know, maybe the last, but first ever guest from Slovenia.
Very likely, yes.
The home of our First Lady, Melania Trump. So
Yes.
Did you have anything to do with that?
Nothing, but we are aware of this relationship for quite some time.
She never played tennis with you or anything, right?
No.
Okay. So tell us about what you're doing now with fieldtennis.net, correct?
Yes. Well, I am focusing on, sharing useful information to recreational tennis players. So I'm kind of really focusing on adults since I'm not working much with juniors. And I know that it's the adults that are looking for information online. And I'm trying to, simplify the game and find the key points, the essential things about tennis technique or the mental approach to tennis that can help them play better tennis.
Well, I can tell you, I've been just a tennis nut for a long time, and I've always thought about you as you're one of the most clear instructors. You make it so it's not too technical, and it's people like me can learn it. We're not professionals, and we want to just play better. And every single training I've seen of yours has been really, really clear. Now, I understand for most of the time you've just done it in person, but now you have online training too, right?
Yes, I have online courses besides my usual free information that's available.
Yeah, and your free stuff is better than a lot of the paid stuff, I got to tell you.
Thank you.
So tell us some of the courses that you have.
For now, I was focusing more on technique courses. So it's like each stroke separate, like a forehand course, one-handed backhand, two-handed backhand, the serve course, and then the second serve course, which focuses on topspin and slice serves. So these are technical courses, and I still have to finish the volley. So playing at the net. So let's say volley and smash. And then once I'm done with that, I think I'm going to focus a little bit on the tactics.
And so people can just purchase it on your site, and then the training's all video or what?
Yes, it's all video. You can download it even to your computer. You don't have to be hooked up online. You can download the videos if you want, or you can access them directly through the internet.
Now, when people are taking lessons, now do you have your own facility over there, or do you just go to different courts and so forth?
I don't have my own facility, but I teach mostly at one club where they let me book a lot of hours, and they have enough free available courts, so I teach there. Yes.
Now, from we're an entrepreneurial podcast, so we always like to talk about the business of it. So, is this something that they do just because it brings traffic into their club, or do you have to give them a percentage of the fees and so forth?
No, because this is actually not a specific tennis club. It's a little sports recreation center.
I see.
So they have 3 tennis courts, and then they have like 4 beach volley courts. Then they have a gym, a squash courts. Then they have an indoor hall for volleyball, or let's say basketball, and so on. So it's like a sports center, a small sports center.
So this is owned by the city, or it's private?
It's private.
It's private.
Yes.
I see. So 10 other tennis coaches can't come in there then, I guess, right?
They can, but it's a small town, so it's basically maybe just one other tennis coach.
I see.
There,
yeah. And how did you get started in this?
Actually, I got started. You mean with the internet business?
Well, no, not the internet business, but get started and you were almost, you used the term almost. I don't really quite get that. Almost professional volleyball coach, but
yes.
But and then
player.
Oh, and player. Okay.
Yes.
So then, how did you end up switching from that to tennis?
Actually, it happened very early because I started to play volleyball, let's say at the age of 12. And the volleyball season around here is usually, let's say, from September until April or May. And then in the summer, we were off. And I didn't know what to do with myself
okay.
in the summer. And it just happened that at that time, there was big rise in popularity in tennis around here.
Who were the big stars at the time?
Ivan Lendl, Boris Becker, Stefan Edberg, maybe even a bit older. So John McEnroe, Jimmy Connors, Björn Borg were still around. So that was that time when I started. And the tennis boom was in full swing. And so somehow I joined in it. I liked it, and I had a lot of free time in the summer, two months of holidays for children. And it just happened that everyone was playing tennis. So since I had some skills from table tennis that I played at home and some skills from volleyball training, then it wasn't so difficult for me to kind of pick up tennis and progress along the way.
So you were self-taught?
Yes, yes,
Wow,
self-taught.
wow.
Yes.
Did you like watch a lot of tennis on TV at the time, or how?
Yes, I watched tennis on TV. Then I remember we got a VCR, the
Right.
VHS
Yeah, yeah.
cassettes. And I remember doing a slow motion, of players, especially Andre Agassi when he came on the scene. I was a big fan then
Right,
because we're roughly the same age. And I was doing Andre Agassi in slow motion, like frame by frame on my VHS.
right.
And then I went in front of the mirror and I tried to copy the forehand.
Wow.
I did that million times in front of the mirror. That's how I learned. Very visually, I learned visually.
Hmm.
I watched very carefully the tennis strokes of players. And then I went on the court and I hit a lot of balls. And my only other, guide was feel.
Yeah, and that's the
Yes,
name of your site,
that's right. Because I had no coach and there was no internet yet.
right?
Uh, there was no instruction available to me, maybe some old books. So it was just visual and feel
Now,
and a lot of hours of tennis.
right, right, right. Now, and was this on hard courts or clay courts or
No, clay courts.
clay courts? Yeah.
Yes.
So, is that what most of it is over there?
Yes. Europe is mostly clay courts.
I see. I see. And
Yeah.
so, when did you start getting paid for it?
Yes, then I was playing tennis, let's say from the age of 13 or 14 years old, and I played a lot in the summer, spring season, autumn season. Then when I played volleyball, I played less, but I still like to go and play. So that took maybe until I was around 20, 21 years old. And then I was playing quite well by then, playing various leagues and tournaments and so on. And then my friends in my town and people start to ask me if I can teach them because they saw I played well.
Right.
But I didn't know how to do it. I had no methodology. And then I said, oh, maybe I can, go and pass the course for a tennis teacher. It's called like level 1, first level here in Slovenia.
And is that what who would certify you?
It's the Coaches Association of Slovenia.
Okay.
And this program is based on the European ITF system. So
okay. So there was some standards that you had to pass.
Yes. Most of the European countries kind of modify their national coaching system based on the ITF methodology. And then I thought, okay, I just want to get some, like a summer job.
Okay.
Why don't I try to earn some money with tennis? So I did go and pass this first level 1 test, and I started to teach tennis. And then maybe it was destiny or something that as soon as I passed the test and I got certified, a tennis school opened in my town.
Wow.
Private.
And what town are we talking about?
1996, something like that.
No, what town are we? What's the
what
name?
town? This is a small town in Slovenia. It's called Škofja Loka. It's a small town, let's say like 15,000 people.
Okay.
Population. And for the first time, a tennis school opened there. Let's say an entrepreneur who had a different business, but he liked tennis and his children liked tennis. He decided he's going to open a tennis school. And so a friend of mine who started to work there called me if I wanted to join. So that was like immediately as I passed the test. And it's kind of like, yeah, sure, why not? And that's how I started to teach tennis.
Now, was these indoors, outdoors, or
what? We had a bubble for the
mm-hmm.
winter.
Yes. Right. When I was talking to you, you said you're concentrating now on the biomechanics. How do you define that for people?
Yes. So, in tennis, we talk a lot about technique. We have to have certain technique of the strokes. And I used to teach like that because I was taught like that also in these coaching courses. After then, I passed level 2 and level 3. Then I passed the PTR, the American, the US PTR. It used to be called US PTR tennis system, and I attended many conferences and seminars and so on, educate myself in tennis. And there's a lot of talk about technique and, you know, what the hand or the arm needs to do. But then later on, I found out that this is not the answer. This is not the answer. In fact, it ruins a lot of players. So in terms of biomechanics, I would focus more on the body. So what are the hips doing? What are the shoulders doing? What is the core doing? So more focusing on the body. Is the player stable on the ground? Do they know how to rotate around their left leg, around their right leg? Do they have good, stability and so on? And we need to fix the body motions, the body movements first before we start correcting the arm movements.
Ah, I see.
So that is kind of what really works now, even with players that have many years of poor technique. They've engraved poor movements. We are not going to correct their movements by fixing their arm movements, even though they might be incorrect, because the cause of the problems lies in the incorrect body movements.
And
So
someone
that's kind of,
and you deal with adults, so it seems like
yes,
they could have had years of ingraining poor movement.
yes.
So
And
how long does an average person take to be able to correct some of those body movements?
If we talk about forehand and backhand, so one-handed or two-handed, then it takes about 5 days.
Oh, that's all to overcome
Yes, but the
years?
lessons are morning and afternoon.
I say
Every day. Every day. Morning, afternoon, 5 days in a row. Then they can fix the stroke, of course, in easy conditions, right? Not
right.
short ball, high ball, running left, running right, but just to execute the stroke maybe for the first time in their life correctly on
Yeah.
a nicely fed ball from the basket. They will feel, they will understand, okay, now I understand how the stroke works.
They will feel tennis,
Yes,
right?
yes, that's right. So
Only
forehand and backhand can be corrected really, really well in about 5 days. Also volley, but serve usually not.
right.
If
That's
they learn the serve wrong, then I don't know exactly, because not many adults stayed with me for a very long time that I could actually see what happened. So
yeah.
I kind of put them on the right track.
Right. Now, I thought I saw on your site today some course on perfecting the second serve.
Yes.
Yeah. So would you say that's easier to work on than the first serve because you have much more net clearance, or what?
Yes, you can do it, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be like effortlessly hit, because if the main, biomechanics of the serve are not in place, then you will still struggle a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I would advise people first to just, get the basic, let's say, flat serve right. And then when that kind of functions well, that they can feel that they can hit the ball relatively effortlessly with good pace, then only then they should start trying to modify it into a topspin serve or a slice serve.
I see. Oh, I thought you would do it the other way. That's how I didn't.
The other way, it's
Totally
possible,
backwards.
but it can go the wrong way sometimes.
I see.
Yes.
What does it cost for? I mean, how do you normally charge? Do you charge like a group of lessons or one at a time? Or how does that work?
Yeah, I can have group lessons, but lately I've been, doing mostly private lessons, or
Mhm.
let's say semi-private with 2 people on the court.
Mhm.
If they come with the desire to correct their technique, then it has to be individual,
Right.
because everyone has their own issues and I have to address them. So, yes, mostly private lessons.
Do they buy a group of them and then take them one at a time, or do they just pay one at a time? How does that work?
Usually just one by one. They come one by one and they say, I would like to learn the stroke. And then I tell them, look, it takes this much time. Don't come once a week for 1 hour, because we're not going to do anything.
No progress that way. Yeah.
if you want to correct stroke technique or biomechanics, then you need to do it every day in order to have a chance to beat the old
Right.
ingrained habits.
Right. Right.
That is possible, but you have to tackle it every day for, let's say, minimum 3 to 4 days and up to 7, 10 days.
Mm-hmm. Now,
Then it can be corrected.
do you use any video?
Yes, I use video, and lately I've been using a lot. I bought a new tablet
Mm-hmm.
so that they can have like a bigger screen, and I use Coach's Eye app
Oh
so
yeah,
that
it's
I can
just so
do.
you can what you can
Yes,
draw on it, and
that's
you
right. So
can.
I can show them immediately on the court the analysis, and then once I go home, I upload all that, online and send them files so they can review. So
Oh,
that's
that's great. That's
almost necessary, I think, in these days if you want to have an effective tennis lesson and you're correcting tennis technique. If you do it without video, uh, it will be very, very frustrating and
yes,
very, very inefficient.
yeah. Because I mean, most people, especially adult, just recreation players, I mean, they don't have that feel of where their body is, and
That's right. That's
till
right.
you.
They need to see, and you need to constantly give them visual feedback. Sometimes I feed them like 10 balls and say, okay, let's go see. Let's go see now. And we check on the tablet and they see, yeah, okay, I see. Then I say, let's go hit 10 more balls. And we go back and forth like this. So that they get immediate feedback on what
Yeah,
they're doing.
because I'll bet, and I know I'm guilty of this myself. I swore I did one thing, and the video said
Yes.
it wasn't even close to what I thought I did.
That's right. That's right. So the feel can lie to us many times.
Yes, yes.
So we have to double check with the video
Right,
how it.
right. So this is really great that you've been able to do something you love and make a full-time living out of it for, you said, what, 25 years now?
Yes, and I'm aware of this. I appreciate it. I'm not taking it for granted. I'm really grateful for this.
Well, what's a typical day look like for you?
A typical day, let's say, is like 4 hours of lessons.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say 4 to 6.
I mean, how far do you have to travel to the
I have
court?
to travel about 10 minutes only.
Oh, that's good. Okay,
Yes.
so not much of a
I
commute.
drive with the car 10 minutes. And then I usually have 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the afternoon if that's just one client.
Right. Oh, just one client for.
Yes.
So one client is going to do 4 hours per day.
Yes. Yes.
Right, but it's not too taxing. It's not
No,
like they're
because there
running
is no
full
running
speed.
or stuff like that.
Right.
It's just a lot of video analysis going back and forth. I have a lot of exercises that I make them do
Mm-hmm.
with rubber bands or stuff like that with various training tools, training aids. So it's not physically demanding, it's more mentally demanding
Now,
because they need to focus.
now, are they concentrating on only one stroke for that entire day or that entire 4 or 5 days, or can they have multiple?
It depends. Sometimes they come with a lot of wishes, and then I have to kind of tell them a bit what is realistically possible. So let's say in 5 days, we can correct 2 strokes really well.
Mm-hmm.
And I give them other tips if they want for other strokes.
Right, right. But working on too many is just disaster, probably.
Yes. But I've had quite a few cases where the player was really, really frustrated with, let's say, just with the forehand. It completely broke apart. And we worked on the forehand 4 hours a day, 5 days in a row. Just forehand.
Right.
Because it's not only mechanics, it's also timing and rhythm. And many times they don't have it. And there's another different exercise for that. And so it can take a lot of time actually to fix one stroke.
Yeah, and I know one thing I've always had trouble with is watching the ball all the way. You know, it's that last, millisecond. Oh, look up, and then
yes,
and
very, very difficult. So no needs, if recreational players are listening to this, no needs to torture yourself trying to watch the ball like Roger Federer. You can just try and improve and kind of try and see it a bit better after the bounce.
Yeah.
That is usually good enough for solid tennis.
Hey, what would you say the difference between the rackets are from when you started and now? I mean, you almost have to have a PhD to just pick strings out nowadays.
Yes. I think rackets nowadays are very user friendly. They're very comfortable, easy to maneuver, the right weight. They're not vibrating a lot. They dampen the vibration. Uh, and yeah, so sometimes people ask me which tennis racket to buy, and it's hard to say because I think the competition is very, very tough in the tennis world. And these brands that we know, Wilson and Prince and Head, Babolat, Dunlop, and so on, they cannot produce bad rackets. They will go out of
Right,
business.
right.
So most of the rackets, unless you pick some really specific strange racket, are quite good. So it really more depends on how you feel the racket. If you like it, if you like how it feels in the hand, how the contact feels, and how the swing feels, then you can buy it, right? That's my answer.
Well, I'll tell you what I did stupidly in the beginning is I bought 5 Wilson rackets, exactly what Roger Federer used.
Yeah.
and and
And
I'm taking this clinic, and the
uh,
guy's looking at me, and he says,
yeah.
"What are you doing with that racket?" I said, "Well, this is a good racket, right?"
Yeah.
He said, "Yeah, it's way better than you'll ever be." He was just being nice about it. He says, "You get rid
Yeah.
of that thing." He says, "The sweet spot is about the size of a quarter in that thing, and you
Yes,
haven't hit it
and
yet."
the real pro rackets are very demanding, like
Yeah.
I don't know, like a sports car, it's
Hmm.
very demanding to drive, right? You can go really fast with the sports car, but it's really demanding to drive.
Right, right. So
So
he
it's
said,
something
"Get rid of
similar
that
with the
thing."
tennis racket.
Yeah, so I got, I think a mid-size plus now, and it's
Mm.
much much better. It's like, geez, that was,
Yes, just
uh,
choose
but
it based on feel.
but luckily there was some other dumb person that bought them used off of me, and I think I saw
Yeah,
him at a yard sale.
yeah, good deal.
So a typical day is you're on the court 4 hours, but then you had to develop all these online courses and things.
That's right.
So
That's right.
what's your work day like? I mean, do you just do you get up early or what? What do you do?
Yeah, sometimes I try to squeeze some time for my online business before the morning lesson,
Mm-hmm.
which let's say starts at 9 a.m., usually something like that. So I try to do something useful, let's say between 8 and 9,
Mm-hmm.
if I can. And then just between the day, during the day, you know, uh, I try to do something a little bit in the evening sometimes. So yeah, uh, I it's not so scheduled. Uh,
Yeah, but I mean, you did a good job at it. So how did you figure all that stuff out?
um, my online business actually started. I hired a company here in Slovenia
Mm-hmm.
to build me a website, but
Mm-hmm.
then I realized that this is not going to work because they respond very slowly and they always
Right.
charge me for something. And I said, I'm not that stupid that I can't learn this myself.
There you go. I love it.
So I was researching for quite a while online on you know how to do it, and then luckily I came across at that time or still Canadian company called sitesale.com.
Mm-hmm.
It was run by Ken Evoy, and they had a really, really, really wonderful program, and it still exists. Uh, because they don't teach you just how to build a website, they teach you how to build an online business.
Yeah, I haven't even heard him for a long time. I mean, he was really big back when we first started, but yeah,
Mm.
I didn't even realize he was still open.
Yes, yes. So you're also aware of this company, right? Or Ken Evoy, right?
Yeah, yeah, because
Yes.
I was one of the first ones that started in 1994, and there
Hmm.
was just a few of us at the time,
Hmm.
and then he was well known for a while, but then kind of disappeared off the
Hmm.
face of the earth. So I thought he was gone.
Yeah. So that's where I learned how to build a business in terms of how to structure your website, how to structure your content, the idea of over delivering, because you're in the internet, you're competing with the whole world. Give it everything you have. um, Follow the plan, stick to the plan. uh, I still have I don't know, I can send you a screenshot later, or I have a small mug here, here
Mm-hmm.
by my monitor, and there's a little tortoise there with the computer, because their motto was tortoise it. Go slow at it, slow and steady, like a
Right,
turtle,
right.
right? Tortoise. So I still have it here. It's
Yeah.
kind of my guideline. So that's how I started, and it put me on the right track. I understood, I learned, did some mistakes I learned along the way, but later on I kind of switched to WordPress.
Right. Yeah. It's the gold
uh,
standard now. But the thing
WordPress.
is you kept your costs down by doing it yourself. That you can
Yeah,
make a
yeah, of
lot of
course.
mistakes and
And
recover if you're not
yeah,
paying.
learned how to do membership
Right.
websites, which program to use, and so on. And it's just constantly evolving with the internet that is constantly changing.
Okay, so we got to take a brief sponsor message. Then we come back. We're going to ask you how you stay motivated when working over there in Slovenia, and then maybe tell us a little bit more about if we'd ever come to Slovenia, what we should look at. So, folks, if you want somebody to hold your hand through having all kinds of stuff like Tomaz just talked about, membership sites and online courses and all of that, that's what we've been doing for 25 years now in my mentor program, which is the longest running and most successful and most unique. And one thing I didn't tell you about was it includes a scholarship to my internet marketing school, which is the only one in the country, probably the world. So it includes that, and also a trip to my retreat center, which is a big $2 million facility in Virginia Beach, where you come for an immersion weekend as part of your year-long training. So check it all out at greatinternetmarketingtraining.com. So, Tomaz, tell us a little bit more about Slovenia. Is it much of a tourist location, or what would you see if I was landing today in Slovenia? What would you want me to go look at?
Slovenia is a very green country, because still around half of the country is forest.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so people come to see a lot of nature. We
Mm-hmm.
have beautiful lakes, rivers, mountains. The interesting thing about Slovenia is that it's on the south side of Alps, and it also has access to the Mediterranean Sea.
Wow.
So, in a distance of, let's say, 200 kilometers, you can go from a high mountain where you can ski to the sea where you can swim.
Wow.
Yeah, so
What's
it has
the elevation of the Alps?
up to 2,800 meters, the
2,800
highest
meters.
mountain.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. That
Yes,
meters. Okay. Yeah.
yes, meters. Yes,
Right. So it's 10,000
you
feet.
have to recalculate in feet.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's pretty interesting. And what is the name? What's the capital?
The capital is called Ljubljana. Ljubljana. And Ljubljana is also very nice. It got like an award a couple of years ago as a green capital of Europe. And because they arranged a really nice area for tourists and for locals when there's no traffic. So it's just walking area for
Oh,
pedestrians.
nice. Nice. And
And
what
it has
city are
nice
you in?
parks. Sorry?
And what city are you in?
I live in Kran,
How do you
which
spell that?
is KRNJ, KRN,
J.
KRANJ.
KRANJ. Okay.
Yes, but we don't pronounce crunch, we pronounce Kran.
Kron. Okay. Beautiful.
It's like a fifth largest city in Slovenia with about 45,000 population.
Got it. Got it.
It's a small country. It's only 2 million population.
Is it expensive for U.S. citizens to go there? How does it work against the
I
dollar?
don't think so. I think it's very affordable
Mhm.
because
Where do you
let's say
fly into mostly? Or
You fly into Ljubljana,
yeah.
but it does not have an intercontinental flight. So if you want to come to Slovenia, you have to fly to one of the bigger hubs in Europe. So Frankfurt or London
Mhm.
or Zurich in Switzerland or something like that, or Istanbul in Turkey. And then it's about 1 to 2 hour flight to Slovenia.
Nice, nice. Well, I certainly want to come there one of these days. That's for sure.
It's wonderful. Yes, it's very nice.
Where was Melania from?
Melania is coming from a small village called Sevnica.
How big
So
is
yeah,
it?
it's a small. I don't know, but it's a small town.
Very small. Boy, she
Yes,
sure made it. That's for sure.
yes.
Yeah. Okay. And so you're married, and how do you stay motivated doing this same stuff all 4 hours a day of tennis all day with a bunch of fat guys like me, probably?
Yes, good question. So to tell you honestly, I have ups and downs sometimes. But now that I'm self-employed, because before I also used to work in tennis academies and clubs and so
Oh yeah,
on.
and
And
didn't you say you went Thailand or some other countries for a
yes,
while? Tell us
these
about that.
were yes. It's just a coincidence that I somehow I got in touch with a coach that used to work in a tennis academy in Thailand, and they needed some help in the summer for coaches. And he said, "You want to come to help out?" And I said, "Sure, why not?" And then it just happened that they were happy with my work and they offered me a contract to stay longer. And it was really, really great academy, really great team. Very, we got along really well, and I
Which
really
country was this?
Thailand.
This
That
was
was near Bangkok.
Thailand. Okay.
Yes, but it was an international tennis academy
Were
with
you
international.
married at the time?
No, no, no.
Okay,
That
so
was
yeah, I was gonna say
yeah, a
because
long time ago.
yeah,
And then so I happened to work there 1 year, and then I returned back home to Slovenia. And a few years later, I got an offer to work in Singapore, and I took it, and it was also a wonderful experience. Uh, but after that, when I returned, I'm now self-employed. I don't work for anyone,
right, right.
and so what I do is to stay motivated is that in the winter I take a bigger time out,
Mm-hmm.
like maybe for 2 months I don't work.
Oh,
Uh,
well, that'll give you a chance to recharge your batteries. Yeah.
yeah, so I kind of recharge, I rest a little bit, and then I kind of mentally prepare for the next season. So let's say in the March, April, when the season starts, I actually mentally kind of prepare myself, and I say, I don't mind working a lot, and I just decide to work. Anyone wants to have a lesson, I'm good for it. And I kind of know that I'm going to work really hard until, let's say, November.
Mm-hmm.
So because I know that this hard work is gonna end, I can work hard this time.
How do you
But I
get
think,
your clients?
sorry,
How do you market yourself? How do you get your clients?
uh, it's all through the internet. I don't even do any marketing. They
Mm-hmm.
just contact me. They see my lessons on YouTube and so on, and they come from Europe also,
Right. So
not
people
just
fly
local.
in to spend time with you.
Yes, yes,
Yeah, nice, nice.
yes. It's more than enough demand.
Well, I'm telling you, like I said, I've been through a lot of coaches online and off, and you're very, very understandable, and I really, really love your training. So, hey, thanks so much,
Great.
man, for taking time to talk to me today.
Yeah, my pleasure. It's always great to meet, fellow tennis players, tennis coaches, tennis enthusiasts, and
Yeah.
share this journey together. So I love it. I appreciate it.
Well, yeah. So all this Tomaz's stuff is going to be in the show notes, folks. So you can click on it. Maybe we'll try to spell some of these cities correctly, or maybe put a map there so we know where the heck we're talking about. 'Cause,
Yeah, wonderful.
us Americans, these dumb Americans, don't know where anything is but their own town.
Yeah, but Slovenia is really hard to find. I mean, if you go on Google Maps, you'll have to zoom in a bit to find it.
Okay. Well, we'll
Yeah,
do it. You're worth
yeah,
it, man. So
yeah.
so thanks a lot, and can't wait to get this episode out for you.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, folks, that was Tomaz Mencinger, boy from Slovenia, our first ever interview from Slovenia. And I just truly do love all his tennis stuff, and I'm a tennis nut myself. And so great to, and how beautiful it is that we can connect across the sea and around the world with these interviews. So we're so happy to have them. So we'll catch everybody on the next episode. See you later.